Underwater. Merry Christmas. Christmas. Yes, of course. I ruined Christmas for the who's down there. Take all the presents from everywhere. I'll go down where all the who's live. Take all the presents. I've no fucks to give. And yes, I know I'm speaking in rhyme, but with all the presents, I'll be having a good time. Okay, I'm done. Okay, so The Grinch with Jim Carrey's. Yes, I call this The Grinch because How the Grinch Stole Christmas is the animated film. This is The Grinch, and then they made another one in 2018 called The Grinch. But I've already recorded To Be Tuesday, Jack Frost 2, just in case you want to know. In that review, I mentioned that this review was supposed to be Bad Santa. Well, that changed. The copy I had, the DVD I had, I should say. The copy, because this is my copy of Krampus. Yeah, my copy I had didn't work. It was all scratched up, wouldn't work. So I decided I gotta find something else, and The Grinch was on the Spectrum app through Freeform, and then 3/4 of the way through, I realized that it was behind a little bit, like the audio wasn't synced in. So I tried to go out and come back in, but it didn't work. Like it went to the regular cable. I'm like, what? So I'm like, oh, it probably saved on the cable box. No. So I'm like, okay. So I just watched the Nostalgia Critics review for it. The end, it's basically the rest of what I had to watch basically just was up to the cartoon with little added differences. We'll get to it. But it's pretty much the same at the end. Yeah, I remember when this came out in the year 2000. I was in middle school. It's live action because I grew up with the animated Grinch. And so it was like, oh, yes. Live action Grinch. And Jim Carrey, because, I almost said Austin Powers. Ace Ventura and I'm blanking. Dumb and Dumber, which I wasn't a fan of at the time. But like, Liar Liar. It's my favorite Jim Carrey movie. Liar Liar. And so Jim Carrey is going to be the Grinch, and it's directed by Ron Howard. Richie Cunningham from Happy Days. Perfect. I don't remember what I thought of it when I was younger. I always thought it was okay. Watching it, I still think it's okay, but I see far more problems with this than before. Don't get me wrong, out of the 2 live action adaptations, The Cat in the Hat is the worst by far. And I saw the problems with that when I first watched it when I was a kid. So, or a teenager, whatever it was. Came out 2002, whatever. I saw the problems with that right away. This one took me longer. So it's basically verbatim, it's basically the story, but they add to it because the original one was a half hour based on the book. It was very simple. It was the Grinch hated Christmas, decided he wanted to ruin the Who's Christmas, stole the gifts, stole the trees, went up, stole one tree, the big one, I think, I don't know. Went back up, saw they were still celebrating, and decided he had to change of heart. Went back down, brought everyone their stuff back. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Half hour, done. This movie is 1 hour and 45 minutes. An hour and 45. I think maybe an hour and a half. Maybe 75 minutes. But an hour and 45 minutes, that's I don't know. If it was close, I would say under 2 hours is fine, but an hour and 45 minutes is still a lot. I'd say 75 minutes would have been fine to do a story. There's a lot of added stuff to this. Like, we get some backstory. These are kind of things that, if it was a horror remake, like Rob Zombie's Halloween or Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, or their beginning, I guess, you'd say, oh, they're taking the villain and they're making him they're making you sympathize with him, and it's like, well, the Grinch, you're kind of supposed to, right? You're supposed to want to sympathize with the Grinch. They just do more of it, right? Excuse me. They do more of it in this. Like, but I think the big problem is there's too much added to this. And there's one thing in particular that I feel is unnecessary because it already shows you what he's supposed to find out at the end, the big revelation, and it doesn't work here. But, so the whole thing is, the Grinch, he lives up in his mountain. Little Cindy Lou Who, played by Taylor Momsen, wants to do a report on him. So she starts interviewing people. We find out the Grinch was brought here by the storks from the sky. I guess that's how it works here. And he was given to this couple, two old ladies. So he's in a progressive family. He was raised by two women. But, I think it was two women. I don't know. And they're from him because he was green. And he had a thing for this woman, for this girl. And she liked him. But, you know, they made fun of him. And this one pudgy little boy who ends up growing up to be the mayor, you know, told him, well, you need to shave. And so he wanted to make this thing for Christmas. And I guess I gotta mention this. The actor playing Little, Grinch, was Timmy from Passions. Don't ask me how I know that. My grandma used to watch that show. I swear. She's a soap opera freak. She loved her stories. But, yeah. And the thing is, the kid he died in 2002 at the age of 19. So he was like 18 here and playing a little kid. So he had that dwarfism or whatever you call it. But I thought he was real good as the little Grinch. You know? The only problem with this is that they showed that he didn't like Christmas before this. And then once he realized this girl might like him, and he's going to be nice and embrace the holiday, and then after he fucks up shaving, they make fun of him and laugh him out of there. And so he retreats to the mountain. I think one of the biggest problems with this movie is that they decided, instead of having the Who's as these characters that are just happy all the time, they made them like normal people. You have people who are greedy, like the mayor, who is always elected the holiday cheermeister because he's vain, and even cheats to help his wife win the lighting contest. And that never comes back. It's never exposed. Ever. Like, there's a holiday lighting contest. It's clearly voted that Cindy Lou Who's mom wins. Because the mayor gets to read it off, he lies and said it was his girlfriend who won. Because, of course, he's going to. Don't let the mayor... The mayor is dating one of the contestants. I know he's the mayor. Don't let him be involved. Don't let him be a judge. Don't let him be the one to announce. It's never going to work. She's always going to win because he's the mayor and he wants to get in her pants. Don't believe me? Right after this, not right after this, but at some point he proposes to her. Like, it's after the holiday cheermeister thing where the Grinch comes down. And this is where I have a big problem. The Grinch comes down. All this anarchy he causes is fine. He's the Grinch, learn about it. And so he's the holiday hoopmeister, whatever, the passing presents around. He forgot one. He forgot his present. But then the mayor proposes to the woman, his girlfriend. And I'm like, how are they not married already? They've been together how long? They were little kids, and now they're both like in their maybe younger. Because Kristen Baranski, she's in her 60s now, right? I don't know. But like, it's really weird. Maybe she's in her 40s. I don't know. But here, she's just like, Jeffrey Tambor was in his 40s. I know that for sure. But like this is where he gets mad and he goes off, and I get it. You could tell she still likes him too, and that's another kind of like way you need that in there. But like he gets mad and he starts attacking the town. I do like the line though when he taxi and it goes by and he goes, "Is it because I'm green, isn't it?" And I'm just like, okay, that's a pretty good line. But he like takes his teeny tiny little car, crashes it, big explosion in the Grinch, okay, and then he burns down the tree. And this is where I have a problem because he burns down the tree and like, oh, it's a good thing we have a spare, and they bring in a new tree and set it up, and the Grinch goes, "Arr!" Gets all angry at it. And I'm like, no, wait. I even paused it. I'm like, no, wait. That kind of stuff is what's supposed to push him in the direction of the Christmas spirit. It's what's supposed to give him the Christmas spirit, grow his heart 3 sizes bigger. That right there shows you that no matter what happens, they're still going to celebrate. Still going to show the Christmas spirit. I know it's not fully, but it's just like, no, and he waves it off and then he comes up with this plan to steal all the Christmas stuff. I'm like, no. That makes no sense. He just saw that it doesn't matter if he takes their stuff. They'll have extra or they'll just keep going. It doesn't make any sense. So when you get to that revelation, it's like he should have already figured it out. But yeah, so then we get the whole thing where he gets dressed up, and instead of Max pulling the sleigh down the hill comically like in the cartoon, it has rocket boosters on it, and it flies technically. The real Santa Claus is somehow in this film, which is problematic because, I don't know. And then we get the most unrealistic thing in the movie. He goes to steal the tree, and again, Cindy Lou Who comes downstairs. We get the scene from the cartoon where she comes down, and I should have mentioned earlier, Cindy Lou Who in the book and the cartoon is supposed to be no more than 2. Taylor Momsen was like 6, maybe 12. She was young here. She wasn't no 2, but she was older. I'd say maybe a 9, 10. My son's age, maybe 10 years old. I don't know. It's a decision. You got to make him old. You can't have a 2-year-old walk around going, "I want that Grinch," So, but yeah. And so we do the scene where she sees the Grinch and thinks that he's Santa Claus. The only problem is she knows what the Grinch looks like because she's seen her earlier in the movie. And here's a big problem because at the beginning of this film, he knows they'll recognize him when he goes to town. He comes down in a cloak, and even though he's wearing a cloak, he wears a mask because they'll still recognize him. But he thinks a Santa suit and hat is enough for them not to recognize him as Santa Claus? No, that doesn't make any sense. Put on a Santa mask or something. And it works though because Cindy has no clue that it's him. And it makes no sense. But he steals all the stuff, goes up, you get the I don't know if they sing that song. Because like I said, this was in the second half. I didn't get to see that part. Or not the second half, but towards the end. But like, yeah, and he sees that they're still there. And somehow Cindy Lou Who had to be on the mountain with him this time instead of being down there singing and dancing. She wants to. They have this character so gung-ho about wanting to spend Christmas with the Grinch that she goes up there and then they fall down. He gives back all their presents and apologizes. The cops refuse to arrest him like the mayor tells them. And as an added bonus, the girlfriend rejects his proposal because she wants to be with the Grinch. Why was that added in there? Why did we need a female love? I get it. You want to come up with a reason for him to hate Christmas. And that Grinch is vain, so losing the girl that he liked, sure. But I don't know. It's a little. I mean, they also showed that he hated Christmas before that. He broke a Santa Claus tray by trying to eat it, thinking, I don't know. but it's fine for what it is. I'm gonna say it's a middle of the road movie for me, because there are some good parts. Jim Carrey, for the most part, is pretty good. He shows a little menacing. I think he goes a little bit too far sometimes, but he's pretty good. You got Max the dog, voiced by Frank Welker. Then voice effects, I guess you could say. And I like Cindy Lou Who. I also like the actor who played her dad, Lou Who. Yeah, try to think of that. Was there no other name they could give him but Lou? I'm like, they're like, Lou Who? I'm like, his name is Lou Who? And no, it's in the credit. It's on Wikipedia. It's Lou Who. Why? Couldn't they give him a different name, like Maynard Lou Who, or Jimmy Woohoo, or You Woohoo, or Woo You Hoo, or Woo Lou Hoo, or Louie Lou Hoo, or something? I'm losing my mind now. But yeah, this is fine. Middle of the road for sure. Nothing spectacular, but almost close to fabulous, but not exactly fabulous. But yeah, middle of the road. But so, what are your thoughts on the Grinch? The Grinch. Let me know in the comments below. And quick before you go. One more thing I must prescribe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.